Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Bonnie Stone-Sellers, co-founder of Forbes Global Properties, to discuss the Forbes Global Properties year-end market perspective, a comprehensive report that draws from 2,400 leading local experts spanning 11 countries. Bonnie, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thank you very much for having me today.
Which markets in 2021 considerably outpaced those in 2020?
2021 was an amazing year, mostly around the world, but a few markets were particular standouts in 2021, outpacing 2020. A great example is Santa Barbara, and another example would be Los Angeles. But there were actually a couple of markets where there was double-digit price increases from 2021 in 2021, and examples of that are Telluride and Lake Tahoe.
And how did international markets perform?
Interestingly, the international markets were also on fire. There were a couple of superb Asian markets, such as Hong Kong and Singapore, but then you get double-digit growth in Sydney, where the year-on-year growth in prices was 29%, and Toronto, where the year-on-year growth was 18%. And what we found is that the luxury sector seemed to grow a little faster.
And which demographic represented the largest segment of buyers in the market?
So traditionally, the baby boomers were always the largest home buyers, and the baby boomers would go out with their broker and go visit all the homes. But now what we saw in 2021 was 2/3 of the buyers were Gen X and younger. Gen X is 41 to 56 and younger. And there are three good reasons why this occurred. One is the pandemic. So the standard Gen X person gets up in the morning, goes straight to work, spends the entire day in work. Okay, there we go. And then goes out for dinner and goes home to sleep, and that's it. But with the pandemic, everyone was confined to home, and then the home became much more important, and the pandemic was a big driver. A second driver was wealth transfer. It seemed like the Gen X group became a bigger owner of wealth, whether it was through the baby boomers passing it down or whether it was just through entrepreneurialism, but they consumed 25% of the gross wealth of the billionaire list, for example. And the third is the way to search for homes. So a typical Gen X or younger person would go to the internet, they'd look for the house, they find the house, they talk to the broker online, they bid online, they may not even visit the house, they may just Zoom a visit, may pay with cryptocurrency. That's something that was very conducive during the pandemic.
Yep. Bought a house in April, Gen X are here, and got mine on Zillow. So can completely relate to that. And this might seem an obvious question. What did buyers prioritize in terms of space?
So I think the pandemic has changed the way we think about our homes forever. It used to be, this, I'm sure, location, location, location. And now it's location, location, lifestyle, because the buyer in 2021 wanted more space. They wanted larger space indoor. They wanted larger space outdoors. And this was the driving factor in home purchases. Very close to that is a home office, maybe 2 home offices, but people wanted a quiet, appropriate place to work, and homes that had it sold a little bit faster. I have to say that there's a third category that is, I think, fairly intuitive if you think about the pandemic. And that third category is privacy. People wanted the security of being away from other people, and they wanted to feel that they were private during this time frame. And then the last group of factors that were important to the 2021 buyer were greenery outside and places to have recreation, the swimming pool, the at-home gym. These were important factors.
Yep, reporting from the home studio in New Jersey. So,
oh, there you go.
You know what I thought, Bonnie? It was interesting how buyers are treating their vacation residences, which is probably a result of the pandemic as well.
Yes, it's so interesting. It used to be that if you were lucky enough to have a vacation home or a weekend residence, you went there intermittently. At the beginning of the pandemic, people kind of went to their vacation home and felt safer there. As time went on, the vacation home, the secondary markets became the primary place to live. So we have a situation where there really isn't that much of a distinction this year, 2021, between the secondary market and the primary market. The secondary market is almost an obsolete home and obsolete concept. And these secondary homes became primary homes. I think that this was driven by the fact that we have technology. Without the great technology we have, it probably wouldn't have occurred.
So are there any other findings of interest? And my follow-up question to that is, are these trends that are specific to the pandemic, or do you think there was enough of a generational shift in how we think of work and how we think of lifestyle, where this might not just be a year or two trend, but this might be the way that people think about work and home for a generation or so?
Yeah, really interesting question. So prediction for 2022 is that these trends will continue, maybe not at the feverish pace. We are having probably even more demand in 2022 because the foreign buyer will reinsert itself into a lot of markets. But people are going back to cities now, and cities will provide so much more supply that I think the market will continue to grow, but maybe not at the same pace. But to your question, second question about what the future bears, as long as there's at-home work, we think these trends will continue for the long term. And I have to say, the residential sector is extremely exciting right now. And, we're really looking forward to following it.
All right, Bonnie, we appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thank you.